So really, what is Robert Kiyosaki even known for? Is he known for being the author of The Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Well, he actually is not the author, and that story never happened. It's a pretty decent book, but that never happened. What about his investment tips? Does he give good investment tips? Well, I let you be the judge of that. Based in 2022, where he put this on X, formerly known as Twitter. And this is what he said. Best investment? I am not lying. He said, cans of tuna fish. Inflation is about to take off. Best investments are cans of tuna and baked beans. You can't eat gold, silver, or Bitcoin. You can eat cans of tuna and baked beans. Food, most important. Starvation, next problem. Invest in a solution. Take care. So as we see, his investment tips, they're not that great. So really, what is he known for? What is he good for? There's one thing that he thinks he is a genius on, and the rest of us are stupid in. And I'm going to share with you some of the videos where he explicitly says why we're not that smart, and he is. And I want you guys to be the judge, and let's see if whether we agree with him or not. But before I get there, guys, please take the time to hit the like and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and with your help, I will certainly get there. Now let's check out these very interesting, bombastic takes.
Well, debt is money. I use debt to get rich. Most people use debt to get poor and invest in the stock market. I don't invest in the stock market. So when you wonder why so many people struggle financially, because they haven't challenged the hypnosis, the words, go to school, get a job, work hard, save money, pay taxes. Until you question those hypnotic trances, you don't change. So when I was a little boy, I had poor dad and rich dad, saying,
in your head.
He's saying, go to school. My rich dad goes, what a waste of time that is,
Right.
And the way my rich dad taught me is just playing Monopoly. 4 greenhouses, 1 red hotel. I learned about money. I learned to be a capitalist, not an employee. I don't pay taxes. I use debt for money.
So as you see, his whole thing is about how he's a genius with debt. It seems like most of his fortune came from having debt. Now, I'm not going to beat up on him too bad, because some of the stuff that he says, it makes a little sense, but then he gets a little derailed when he starts with his whole long tangent. And this is the thing that I think that he's right about. It is true. In life, we're all getting whispered, go to school, get a job, do all these things. And we're always just getting ourselves into the situation where things don't always work out the way we expect it to work out. Some people go to school because their parents are telling them to go to school, or they think that's the right thing to do because that's what society is telling them to do. But there's also another voice that's out there, and this voice is really loud, and it's called TikTok. And TikTok is telling you, you suck, you're not smart, you made all the worst decisions by going to college and you're a loser. But what you could do is get into debt to buy a house, start getting into Airbnbs, start feeding all these entrepreneurial things into you, making you think that that is something that you can do. Now listen, I'm not gonna be a downer. Not everybody could become an entrepreneur though. And some people actually are good at just being workers, and they're happy with that. They're happy with getting a job with a nice salary, a nice home, a nice life, and they're content with that. Now his thing is like he's poo-pooing on people just because they're not following his path. And listen, he loves talking about debt, but this is what this man said recently in an interview. Rich Dad's Poor Dad's Robert Kiyosaki says he's 1.2 billion in debt because if I go bust, the bank goes bust. Not my problem. That type of analogy really is shitty. A lot of rich people do not have that mind frame where I'm just become rich off debt, and if things happen and I can't pay it, or the bank in this case goes bust, it's not my problem. But he's not done. He still has a lot of other takes out there, and it involves a lot with debt.
In one of your YouTube videos, you actually said that you're currently $600 million in debt. No?
1.2 billion.
1.2 billion, okay. There we go.
And the reason I talk about debt is because in 1971, when I was in Vietnam, Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard.
Right.
They don't tell you that, and the money became debt. And so then these communist school teachers tell you to get out of debt, like what's his name, Dave Ramsey and all that, live debt free. And that's good advice for the average person because debt will kill you. But debt is money today. And so when I acquire an asset, I use debt.
Now, I love the fact that he had to correct him. No, not 600 million. No, it's 1.2 billion. And once again, the man is crazy, but he does make a lot of sense. He does. It is true. You know, the rich, people got a lot of money and they're wealthy. They use debt to their advantage. They use debt as wealth. That is very true. And I like the fact as well, he was saying, debt's not really for everyone. And it's true. Some people, they don't understand there's levels to when it comes to building wealth. And if you're middle class or below that, using debt is not your best tool. Now, for a student loan or for a mortgage and maybe for a car with a low interest rate, yes, that's the best thing. But to just doing risky endeavors and buying rental properties and taking out home lines of equity of your own personal property to buy a house, that is where things get really, really risky. So listen, yes, he's wild in what he says, but debt is a double-edged sword. If you use correctly and you use in your advantage, then it will work out. But if you use it incorrectly, that could make your situation even worse and magnify your losses and your debt.
If you understand history, the reason I pay no taxes is because I borrow money. I'm a debtor. And check this out. I mean, all you communists out there, check this stuff out. I am a billionaire in debt. You know why? Because I get tax breaks for borrowing money. And the reason I am so rich is because I'm in debt. And my friend Dave Ramsey says, live debt free. Well, you're an idiot. I mean, he's my friend, but I say, Dave, I like debt. He says, I know, but most people can't handle debt. I said, I agree. But that's why there's no financial education in schools, because if you knew how to handle debt, you wouldn't save that crappy dollar you have in your hand. I'd rather borrow the money tax free.
Everything he's spewing is tax-free, tax-free, tax-free. Yes, but there's one thing he's forgetting. You still need to make payments on this debt. You still need to make these interest payments on all this debt that you make. And yes, if he is making so much money, I understand there's tax write-offs that he could do to make it as minimum as possible. That I get. But you still need to be able to manage your debt correctly. And listen, what happens now if the bank calls in all his notes? Okay, if he is currently now a billionaire and he owns 1.2 billion, that's it. The game is over. The jig is up because he has no actual assets that I know of that it would be able to bring up his net worth. Everything to him, the way he's explaining it, is all about being in debt, and that's the way he wants to live his life. I don't like that advice. I'm being honest with you, I do not want to live a life of knowing I'm just borrowing and borrowing and borrowing in order to be rich. I want to earn it. Okay, I want to create something that could bring a whole bunch of money within my life. A nice cash flow, a nice income stream, not just getting debt. And I don't like that advice as well because listen, man, there's so many people on TikTok and it amazes me that follows advice like that. And they think that's the only way because there's some people out there who are desperate. There's some people out there who are going through really tough times and they're trying to find a quick fix. And a quick fix is getting some type of a loan from any of these places. You get a loan anywhere. It's not that hard to get a loan. And once you get that loan, you put it into something risky that you're not knowledgeable about, you don't know what you're doing, and you could lose it all. And I heard plenty of stories about people who have done that, who made the situation worse. I actually recently saw an episode on Dave Ramsey where there was a family that was $4 million into debt. Why? Because the husband took a home line equity out of the house, then put it into his business. The business failed, and then they got a foreclosure notice in the mail. You see, that's the life that you do not want to have. You don't have to be completely debt-free, okay? It depends on your situation. Some people just don't want to have debt in their life, and that's great. Some people know how to manage it correctly with a low student loan, low interest rate on student loan and a home mortgage. That's great because nowadays, how the hell are you going to get a house, right? You're not going to be able to get a house buying it straight cash. It feels like it's damn near impossible. But you just need to understand how debt really works. And in his case, he just brags about it. He acts like he's this billionaire, he's this genius. He's not a genius. All he did was basically have good credit and to be able to get all these loans and all this debt. That's all he was able to do. So he is not better than a common person. He is just someone that just loves debt, trying to play the system, and by all means, good luck to him. But I want to know, what do you guys feel about him? Do you guys feel like that is a great way to build wealth and that's a smart way to build wealth? Or do you think he is really not that smart, he is really not that bright, and one day we're going to hear a horrible story about how he has gone bankrupt and lost it all?